scary at all. No. Happy belated Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you.
Is it a good one?
You know, it wasn't too bad. It's not my favorite holiday. And my kids, though, the thing is, the youngest is 8, and he's locked in now to this goal of if mom cries less than she did last year, everybody's winning.
Okay.
And I mean, they're all locked in. Like they came in my room, and they're like, "How are you? What do you need? Are you hot? Are you warm? Are you thirsty?" You know, they treat me like a Fabergé egg. But then, of course, they also then go back into like doing boy things where like they completely forgot I was there for like 3 hours of the day too. But
That's
okay.
Though. I was gonna say that's a good Mother's Day. It sounds like
it's not that I have such high expectations. I just have like trauma.
that's
So give us like 20, 30 years. I think
yeah,
we'll be
you're
locked.
spot on.
How about you? Because you were you with your mom?
I was with my mom. You know, I am godmom to a few almost adults, and so I got calls and
Good. Yeah, I hope they take care of you.
yeah, and I hung out with my mom, and then went to a concert with a bunch of friends. Went to see Bruno Mars.
Oh.
So it was a fun Mother's Day.
You got a lot of concerts on your calendar.
Oh my gosh, probably in the last 2 weeks I've been to 4 concerts. Not really planned, but it just kind of shook out that way. So it's been it's been a fun time. I was in Vegas last week. Yeah, good time.
Dang, Vegas. Jeez. And we talk, and I didn't even know this.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't available last week. I
hear ya.
went to Vegas for a few days.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. Good lead up to Mother's Day too, I guess. Yeah.
So what just popped up on our phone alerts?
Oh
We
my
have to bring
gosh.
up?
There was a very interesting Supreme Court decision down in South Carolina overturned the conviction of Alex Murdaugh. If you are a true crime follower, right? Like who hasn't heard about the Murdaugh murders? I think there's a documentary on Netflix and Hulu and everything else and multiple podcasts.
Yeah, I have not even had a second to dig into the rationale there, but it's got to be something bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the guy's out of jail, I guess, at this point.
I don't know. I mean, it's very new.
Him and
fresh.
Buster probably on a golf course somewhere.
Probably.
As we speak.
Probably. I text a friend who knows the attorneys, and she was like, they were working overtime on this one. So,
Yeah.
so we'll have to see how that shakes out.
We're going to have to follow up. Otherwise, like, kind of slow news week for things that are not super political because we avoid those things.
We do.
There's a lot of Hermes. How do we say it?
Hormuz. Yeah.
A lot of
yeah.
Hormuz drama.
Straight of Hormuz.
And it's not that these things aren't important. It's just that I can't do anything about them.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think about them.
A lot of political news, but again, we're not talking about that. Lots of So
Here's a question I wanted to ask you. So, with my therapist yesterday, Jim. Shout out to Jim. Can you
It's a
do
day
this?
of
Is this
Jim.
a kid?
I think you can do
I'm
it.
not
but
canceled,
I
am I?
feel like there's a lot of gems in.
Oh, there
in
is
the mix.
gyms.
A lot of gyms.
We're about to bring in a couple of gyms.
Therapist.
What?
gym?
Yeah, I want to know what your most irrational fear is.
Oh my gosh, I don't think we have enough time for those.
Just give me a couple.
I have a long
You
list.
don't have both. Do a lot of overthinking. I want to know what it
A
is.
lot of irrational fears. I don't know. My house being overrun with spiders. I don't know. Here's an old one. Years ago, when I moved off campus, I lived in a second floor apartment with a balcony. And because the first floor of the apartment was like the basement, the balcony was very close to the ground. So I had a fear that someone would climb my balcony and break in. So I was living, it was a decent neighborhood, but still irrational fear.
Well, you've seen Dateline. I mean,
Well, what else
possible.
before Dateline? Well, I guess not really. Dateline's been around a long time. And then it happened one day. It was somebody
hell no.
I knew. It was a friend's boyfriend. It was an argument. It was a lot going on. But it happened, and I was like, see, it's not irrational. It's not irrational because it could happen. So
how did that end up?
we called the police. It was, I mean, no one got arrested. He left. It was fine. But it just reminded me.
He was a
that-
DoorDash guy.
Yeah, right. When you asked that question, I was like, oh gosh, I got a long list of them. What did yours end up being?
Oh, girl. We're working on fear, like the body fear response, you know. And I've just been thinking of this ever since. One I have is that I owe someone money and I don't remember, and that they secretly think I'm cheap and hate me.
Oh my gosh.
And I worry a lot that I have outstanding debts that I'm not aware of.
Oh, that's a real thing. I do think about that sometimes. Do you ever have the dream that you didn't that it's your last semester in school and you
Yes.
wake up and realize that you didn't go to
Still
a
once a
class?
week, yeah.
So, okay, I used to have this dream, especially in my former life in politics, right around budget season. I would always have this dream. And I did one of those Google searches of like dream interpretations. It is absolutely anxiety and
Yeah.
fear of change or
Yeah.
something new. And once I still have it at least twice a year, just not as often as I used to.
Well, dreams are a whole shoot.
We gotta have another.
Another episode. I would say though, what I distilled as my most irrational dream that affects my life most often. I am really afraid of being kicked in the face. Like my kids so much as bring their feet off the ground 6 inches, and I'm like, whoa.
Lindsay, you're almost 6 feet tall. How is that? Not many
I
people
think
are getting their
like
leg
my
up
kids
that.
get their feet on the couch even
Even a little
I
bit.
can't handle a foot around me doing anything that it shouldn't be doing.
Okay.
And I don't know. You have to ask my oldest brother. I think there was some
Something happened?
wrestling, something.
Okay.
But I think about this so much. Anybody does anything weird with their feet, and I'm like,
Okay.
no. And I think also I had that major jaw surgery for my sleep apnea,
did,
and
yeah.
and I think that maybe I blocked it out. But like I got a kid kicked me in the face, or there was something that happened, and I'm forever in
And
my
this is a
mind.
trigger.
If
Okay.
people are doing weird stuff with their feet in a room, I'm like, don't come near me.
I think you got to work on your blocking movement, and then you can conquer that fear
Oh.
because now you have a response.
So
and
just
you
like
know-
a jujitsu class or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, and then make sure that your response is quick,
So
and then
you're-
you're like, okay,
Giving
I'm
this
safe.
a lot of credence.
Look, I've had to conquer a lot of fears, especially recently.
Yeah.
Fear of being unemployed. Well,
Oh.
it happened. I got a job. It was fine. You know.
Oh, don't even. Yes, the trauma episode is another podcast on its own. Maybe we should talk about who we're gonna talk to today.
A pair of gems.
Couple of gyms.
Yeah. Let's see. I've worked for one and with one for a lot of years. So I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited to talk to our gems.
One I've known and admired as a staffer, lobbyist, colleague. As he was in a leadership role, Jim Ananick, the leader in the Senate, minority leader in the Senate for a long time. And the other one, just like Mr. East Lansing, Jim Curran. And my son and his son have been buddies, tight buddies, since kindergarten. So I get to see a lot of different sides of Jim. He's been the soccer coach. We've been on the text of like, sorry, I got to tell you this, what somebody did, you know.
Yeah.
We get that, and that's fun. And him and his wife, I mean, they're you couldn't ask for better, like parents of friends.
And I mean, I think Mr. East Lansing is a good description, but also, I mean, who in this town can you talk to about Dem politics or politics and will give you a rational, like, hear me out, hear out this side of it, and has really helped kind of balance, especially when you work in partisan politics. You often get the very like far left perspective, and you know, I appreciate that I've always been able to talk to Curran, and he'll say, well, hear me out. Here's what regular people are saying, and I think that's helped balance like some of the perspectives that I've been able to help
Totally.
with. Yeah,
And
so,
honestly, we wouldn't have invited them here if they both weren't that like
yeah, that's
pragmatic, thoughtful, real people, but frankly funny and fun and interesting. And that's why what we're doing here is trying to have fun. So
All right, let's bring
gonna
in
bring
our
in some
gems.
gyms, Slim Gyms, a couple of gyms.
All right.
All right, Gym 1, Gym 2, check it.
Check. All right, I'm gonna get us started. All right, we're joined by a couple of gems. My former boss, I guess you got way more titles than that, right? Former city council, former
Quite a few.
state rep, former state senator, Senate minority leader. led
Chair of the
Senate.
gaming board. Chair of the Michigan Gaming Control Board. Yep.
Current chair of the gaming board.
Yep.
My favorite accolade, I think, is you brought the Senate Dems or led the Senate Dems to the first majority in 40 years.
I had to leave.
And then that's okay. Your work
okay,
was
yes,
done.
yes.
Your work was done.
Mic
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so current chair of the gaming board, and yeah,
And I'm teaching classes with Congressman Kildee at Central Michigan in the Griffin chair position, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, things are good.
very good.
Yeah.
And then we have Jim Kerr.
We got Jim too.
Jim too. Jim too.
Sorry, man.
Staffer,
Jim as well.
lobbyist, coach, business owner.
Yeah, beer drinker, steak eater,
Yes.
soccer
Yeah,
coach,
yeah.
MSU enthusiast,
Yeah.
tailgate. Do you still doing that tailgate?
Big tailgate.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh, it's one of my favorite things about
It's a
football.
great
season.
tailgate.
We're, always good to have a place where everybody knows they can make a stop when they're on campus. And
This is the Cheers song.
what's that?
The Cheers song.
Everybody
Right,
knows
yes.
your name.
Yeah, right. It is right. The tailgate version of Cheers.
Yes.
That's fair.
I've been there a number of times myself.
That's fair.
You're no stranger.
No stranger to that tailgate.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we are. Lindsay and I are doing a little podcast where we want to invite interesting people. We're starting with our friends because what else do you do? And we felt like the two of you are a barrel of laughs, but especially together.
Well, no pressure.
No, I was gonna say,
I actually have to say, I haven't seen them together.
No,
But I mean, in my mind, you are sympathetic. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah, for sure.
scenario where you're not friends.
Oh, yeah,
But
we're
I've never
definitely friends.
seen you together.
that's true.
20 some years, probably.
Yeah.
Over 20 years. Yeah.
back when you were
Back in the day.
a local elected official
Yeah.
in Flint, and right, a couple meetings with the old farts in Flint at the White Horse.
Still there.
Good place
Is that
to
Still
go.
there.
Is there a Bob Emerson story in there?
John Cherry Sr. now
John
hosts breakfast there on third Thursday of the month. If you ever
So this place called the
went.
White Horse, and they serve breakfast.
Yeah.
Interesting. Not
I
what
had
I
breakfast
thought. Not what I had in mind.
It's a bar, but they have pretty good breakfast and pizza and
Okay.
yeah. New owners, but they got the same flavor.
Yeah, the old owners, their kid was actually an intern at Carup for a
Yes.
while
Yeah.
before law
That's the
school.
way these things go.
Well, now he works for Prosecutor Layton.
And now he works in the prosecutor's office, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, Chris Kraft last week told us that she became a page because she was waitressing, and Jacob Eddy came in to like order a omelet or something. Like, you want to wear the jacket? And she's like, sure.
Mind you,
You just
in the
hire
UP,
people's
yeah,
kids
right? In
from
the
Russia,
UP,
yeah.
not like in Lansing or anything. Which I guess that leads to like, what was your first job? Anna, Nicole, look at
Ever.
you
And I
first.
want to know your the job that doesn't make the professional resume
Oh,
too.
yeah. Plenty of those. First job. Where's a item price checker?
Say more.
So I had to, you put I worked at a grocery store. It was a summer job up north, Petoskey. Remember the Olsons up there? It's now
Yeah.
now it's the Kilwins factory.
Okay.
I had to go in and it was in the basement, and I would just put, price of. I knew what the price of every
Wait,
food
the
was.
gun, the stickers.
Yeah, which was fun for a minute, and then after a while it got a little old. But yeah,
Full circle when he killed that item,
Item pricing
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna
Well,
say
there was some,
I
there was
voted
some
no.
youthful trauma
was
there
gonna say,
that he
I
was
forget
I really
your
wanted to
job.
vote yes. but I-
just can't get
just
there.
bleary eyed.
yes. Oh god, it was a brutal job. Yeah.
And in a basement.
Oh, fudge factory though, so
Oh.
that turned out all right.
For who?
Yeah, exactly. Not so much for me, but
Jim. What? Jim too.
First job was Detroit Free Press delivery route,
How old?
13.
Oh,
So.
So where were you? Where were you? Where was your route?
It was on a series of streets on the east side of Detroit and Grosse Pointe. The houses were close together, nowhere near Lakeshore Drive in Grosse Pointe. But I got really good at folding the papers up so I could throw them from the bike. Yeah.
Do you find
And I
yourself
hated
just
when it
folding
rained.
stuff
Oh
now?
yeah, I can still
Still
fold a
folding.
newspaper up. But that's why I just hated when it rained, because then you had to decide whether to put them in the door or stuff them in bags, and the bags didn't fly as well as the newspaper. So the geometry of paper delivery, nobody really,
yeah,
and the physics, nobody really ponders that much.
Those aren't great.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, I think about all these jobs we've ever had. What's the useless skill that you still have? In high school, I worked at UPS, and I sorted international packages. So I used to know the airport codes for most. It's such a weird thing, but like even now when I fly, I'm like, oh yeah, Toronto is XYZ because that's
you know.
because it's the airport codes match the airport code. You know, it's
Yeah,
the same
that's
thing.
become a bit useful.
It comes up, but it's like I never. First of all, it's all these years later. I graduated from high school 26 years ago, so why would I know airport codes still? But it's just a random thing, and Jim Curran still knows how to fold the right news, get the right velocity on a paper.
Yeah.
I didn't learn anything from that job. I just knew I didn't want to do that for a living. That's a skill I learned.
That's what
Right.
That's good.
Doing something else.
That was
Figuring
still
out what you
valuable.
don't want to do
Yeah,
is as
yeah.
important as figuring out
I'm really
what you
good
do
at
want to do.
folding. Agree. I'm really good at folding.
Yeah.
Because of that. Like, I mean, competitive folding is probably something. I'm sorry, clothing, not newspaper.
Yeah.
I've never folded a newspaper. I'm not into origami, but I can fold a shirt beautifully.
Yeah, I'm decent at. I worked a lot of retail, so yeah, I got tons of useless skills.
For, potato chips?
Frito-Lay.
Frito-Lay,
Frito-Lay.
yes,
I can
remember
stack
that,
chips
yes.
with the. I could probably win a competitive
No.
chip stacking contest.
I got to share then a note of disappointment.
What?
That as someone who grew up on the east side of Detroit, you didn't work for Better Made.
I know. So
On Gratiot.
here's why. Frito-Lay is one of those companies that they don't allow the store to stock their product. They send someone in, and then they send in, the heavy stores. And it is the only reason why I probably buy Better Maids much more often these days than Frito-Lays. So yes, as an East Sider, I am still loyal to the soil. And
You're gonna
Fago
have to
Pop.
convert me. I'm not there.
No, it's the best barbecue chip.
I don't like a barbecue chip.
So
Too
that's
much. It's
so
too much.
what you need to do is bribe your kids. I'll give you barbecued, Better Made chips if you keep your feet away from my face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got a little something.
There's a deal to be cut there, right?
Yes, I like that.
You got to
Yeah,
keep a
I
little
know.
supply of them.
Forget negotiating down at the Capitol. It's with your children who
I've
are
lost every one of those.
Yeah.
terrorists.
Was a
Yeah.
pretty good negotiator, but I
No, they
Tell us real quick. I know a little bit more about your kids, but you can tell us. But tell us how old your son is.
so Jake's 10.
10.
It's been baseball right now. I'm the coach with my wife,
Uh-huh.
which I was nervous about, but it's actually worked out really well, which I think speaks to the fact that I'm not in the legislature anymore and my marriage is better because now I'm able to do coaching together. It's been a lot of fun.
Who has the skill? Like, who knows the game?
She knows the game. I
Oh.
know about 4 or 5 slogans.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
And you're there just to rough anybody up if they get. Yeah.
Oh yeah, or like kind of goof around with the kids. I do the drills. Like I know just enough to be dangerous. She knows a little bit more about. She played softball. It works out pretty well. But the problem is since there's me and her and Jake, if we can't be there, like pretty much the game has to be canceled. So I'm like, but we've had. I don't know. We've already had to reschedule 2 games. One kid's moving. Another kid found out he had a diabetes issue. Another kid plays soccer for half the games. I'm like, all right, so I don't know how we're gonna make this work, but so far we've had a good time, and I guess that's we'll just try to make through the season.
So is he an extrovert?
Jake, oh
Yeah.
God, yeah,
Is he?
yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I feel like
Charm
with
folks
you
like
and
that.
Andrea as parents, I mean, you got to know have a choice.
He is definitely an extrovert. Yes, that is an understatement. Yeah, he will walk right up to you, shake your hand.
I love that look. Eye contact.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Future politician in there?
No.
No.
I would
Okay.
not.
All right.
Tried to stop that,
All right.
stomp that right out of him.
That's right. That's right. Go make some money in this
Yeah, go
world,
exactly.
young
Go do
man.
something. Yeah, go somewhere else.
And Jim, I know your middle guy spends some time at my house. Actually,
Probably.
my son is. Actually, he's going to watch this, so I can't say much because when I left today, I was like, I'm filming with Jim Curran. He goes, "Oh, I might actually watch that one."
Okay. Well, I don't know that I'm that
that's
much
a-
of a draw for the teenage crowd, but
More than me. I mean,
well, yeah,
I got
yeah.
nothing. But so tell us about your kids.
So Liam just finished his freshman year at MSU.
Nice.
Enjoyed his year in South Wonders, and is going to work for the football team this summer, as well as help run some soccer camps at MSU.
That's cool.
Just had jaw surgery, so his high school job working at Tropical Smoothie has come in handy because all he can do is drink smoothies for another week or so.
Been there.
Sean is finishing up his sophomore year at East Lansing, playing soccer and lacrosse, and Tara is finishing up 8th grade and will be a freshman at East Lansing High School. So brother and sister can fight their way to school every morning.
This all sounds very expensive. That's what I know about
Well,
it.
and
That
you
age.
provided us with some questions, and one of them you asked, "What's a topic you can talk about without notes or
Yeah.
anything?" And it's youth sports, because as great as it is, the expectations and the model of youth sports now is dramatically flawed.
Yes, it is.
I might say some unpopular things on the topic, so I should probably hold my comments from now. But sometimes I'm just like, what are we doing? My kid is never going to be a grown-up soccer player. And my kids are
Cost,
actually
travel and all that.
Uh,
stuff.
you-
cost and-
it's
It's
yeah.
ridiculous. I couldn't have done it as a kid. We didn't have that wouldn't. I mean, that wasn't a real thing when I was growing up. But man, the pressure on these kids and the
You
trips
lose
and-
so much of your childhood. I mean,
Yeah.
Liam was offered a slot on a big travel baseball team, but it was like traveling to Nashville, and
Yeah.
I said, "How about we do this?" And anybody else, your teammates and buddies who are thinking about this, let's calculate how much time you would spend in the car.
Yeah.
And take a quarter of those hours. So if you're going back and forth to Nashville, 16 hours, let's take 4 hours and go do drills or do something that actually improves your skills as a
Good point,
baseball
Jim.
player.
Yeah.
Too.
A portion of the time, and you got 12 hours to go.
do whatever you want to do. Yeah, go to the arcade, play around, do
Right.
whatever you want. Yeah.
So, and one thing I point to is the fact that you now have these youth coaches that's their livelihood.
That's your job.
Yeah.
We were growing up, right? It was the gym teacher who was your coach.
It was
Maybe
Jim-
the
Jim one.
social study teacher.
Yeah.
Jim too.
Now it's
That's their full-time job.
coaches are under pressure
Yeah.
because
sure.
that's their livelihood, and it certainly in baseball when you get these coaches of travel teams that ruin kids' arms
Oh yeah.
because they're not interested in what the kid's future is. So, but we won't need to talk 20 minutes on this, but we could if needed. But it is changing how kids view sports when I think sports are important in terms of interacting with your classmates, getting out of the house, putting the phone down for a little while,
Yeah. Teamwork, things like that.
and we've now made it less attractive.
There's a,
Financially,
I
emotionally.
mean, it's a job, and kids don't get to enjoy being kids.
no, it sucks. I mean, we support a program at Flint. It's called Flint Style Soccer. I think got about 150 kids, and it's all free. And when they do have tournaments, our kids whoop the travel team kids, because they actually have to have fun and they learn a lot of soccer. Now our USL soccer team, so it's like there's MLS and then there's USL, like Detroit. The Detroit team is a ULS 1, I think, or 3, whatever the highest one is. We're the one below that. So those kids are the coaches. So they get to come and play soccer, competitive soccer. They're college-age kids, most of them. Some of them end up going on beyond that. But they also spend the week we're playing with the kids. So they're getting tremendous quality soccer instruction, and they get to have fun. It's great. I mean,
Is that the Bucks, Flint?
the Flint Bucks are the coaches in the summertime. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
My buddy Costa still.
Oh, yeah,
playing?
yeah.
High school
Costa,
buddy of
yeah.
mine, Costa Papista.
Papista, yeah.
That's the name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
who left high school a year early to go play hockey in the Ontario Hockey League.
Yeah. I met him when he first with the
Second.
hockey team.
Yeah.
Firebirds.
Yep.
And then we had because they were a great team too. And then the Bucks came in, and that's Mayor Duggan's brother. Dan Duggan is one of the owners.
Oh my goodness.
And we won the national championship the year before COVID. And then of course COVID hit. Soccer kind of came to a halt. And they're back building the team back up again, and they're pretty good.
When did you meet
Me and Jim.
the Jim 1 and 2?
I think it might have even been before city council days. I think when I worked for Dale Kildee,
Working for Dale.
or maybe when I interned for John Cherry.
But like, were you
Probably
knocking
really met
doors? Were you at a
for-
bar? Were you?
Was there a bus trip that Dale Kildee did?
I think you're right.
And
I think yes.
and I was over there with the Seafarers Union.
Yes.
helped put the trip together. And
I think that was it.
was
Was there
riding
any
down the bus with-
shenanigans
with
on
Dale.
said trip?
I mean,
Certainly was. What they were anymore, I don't remember.
yeah, right. There was no cell phones.
No, no, thank God.
Right.
Thank God.
But yeah, I remember a bus trip with Dale.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys didn't
Was
share.
it to a Tigers game?
No,
Was
a
it
campaign.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was a
Okay.
campaign.
Like
bus
a-
trip.
Around
You'd
there.
have
district
to take
swing.
the bus and
Yeah.
he'd
Yeah.
take it up.
Union
And I used to have
halls.
to drive it sometimes. It was. I was
You
waiting
have
up
to
on that
drive, but
thing.
what kind of a bus?
It was like a Winnebago.
It was a
But like,
motorhome, yeah.
75 was always under construction. I'm driving a Winnebago up and down.
Did they just throw you in?
Oh yeah. I was like, I was a staffer, so I was like, all right, I guess I'll
Just
drive
drive
it.
this? Here's
yeah,
the keys?
Here's the keys. Because we used to have a guy named Matt Schlinker who used to always drive it, and he had he had a job, so sometimes he couldn't. So I was like, I guess I'm doing it today, and I would like peel my fingers off that thing driving down 75.
Any
Small lanes.
close calls?
A couple times, yeah, a couple times I'm like, oh, we're gonna tip this thing over.
Yeah.
This is not great. or remember Uncle Larry Rorig?
Oh yeah.
It's over and called.
Anyone named Uncle is a great person.
He was forever the secretary treasurer of AFSCME, and then he finally got to have his dream for about one term of being president.
Viewers
of
asked
AFSCME.
me as a union. We're talking a lot of union acronyms.
Yes, sorry, yes. AFSCME is the American Federation of State County Municipal Employees, and this in Michigan, it's Council 25 is the whole state. He was secretary treasurer forever, but we call him Uncle Larry or Uncle La, and we did one of the first campaigns. He was working with me or on leave, and we had to do old Union Hall spaghetti dinners. We did every plate, Bay City, Saginaw, Flint, and I had to make the spaghetti for how many people? It's like these big old tubs, and I'm like, God, Larry's putting wine in there. I'm like, all right, whatever. It was a blast. We had to go buy everything, get up there early, and then make stuff at the.
Did your item pricing days lock you in on
I
a
knew the
good
prices.
deal?
I got some good deals. Got the Gordon's deal or whatever it was.
No, I can see so you're a 20-something or
Yeah,
and just
probably.
like I have to cook for 200 people.
Yeah, I barely cooked for
Good luck.
myself. Yeah, I barely could cook for myself at the time, but yeah, probably.
But you were a
Yeah,
part
hard
of
to
the
do
spaghetti dinner.
spaghetti for 200 in a microwave.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. As much
That-
ramen you can make it out. Whatever.
All right, just everybody sit tight.
Yeah, one cup at a
2
time.
minutes at a time.
The first one he did with me, the rest he's like, all right, figure it out. I'm like, all right, I guess.
Were you doing proportions? And Jim's over there with the long division.
Yes, it was pretty close. Well, then the one job you talk about jobs that didn't make my resume. 2 jobs, one of which I just don't put it on there, but it's no reason not to. So my first real job, not campaign, not item pricing, not working at camp or whatever, was for the National Indian Gaming Commission, which is funny because now I'm on the Gaming Control Board. So the job was at the time, what still is to regulate on-reservation tribal gaming. And some of you might know or might have known Larry Rosenthal,
And I knew where that
who
was.
was worked for Dale Kildee, worked for my dad as his first job out of college. So like he was like, hey, you want to come to DC? I'll get you. I was the bottom of the barrel, and my job was to like if somebody applied for a job at a tribe casino, even if they just did it as a lark. You had to put the name in the system. So I had to like put like Myers, Kamashkila, tab, whatever the name of the casino was, and then something else, and then I would it had boxes and boxes. Because the tribal gaming was growing so fast, they couldn't keep up with it. So that was my job all day long. And did that for about
regardless
6
of the
months.
job.
Oh yeah.
If you worked in a.
And you're looking for what, conflicts or legal?
No, my job was just to get in the system. So like,
just to put them in.
just to put it in.
Oh,
Yeah, like now at the Gaming Control Board, if somebody applies, we have to approve those names, or or
Yeah.
reject or whatever happens.
Yeah.
So someone has to put that in the record so that if they applied again or whatever, they could find them. So like I was.
Were you in a basement for this one too?
No, we were like I think we were on K Street or L Street,
He was moving on up.
Washington D.C.
He had moved up by then.
Yeah, I moved on up, 15th floor, I think it was.
Had a window.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a window. There was a window in the building.
There was
I
a
just
window
didn't
in the
have it.
building.
And so Larry was there about 2 months, and then he left. His job was to get the chairman appointed. Through the Senate and confirmation process, he did that, and then went out and started lobbying, and he lobbied until he passed away a couple years ago. And his nephew worked for me in Lansing, and then worked for Dan, and now he's a lobbyist for Target, I believe. Jordan is his name. Great guy. He just got married.
I remember Jordan. Yeah.
And then I left there, and this has never been on my resume. I went to work for Lynn Rivers for about 2 months. And at the time I'm working for, sort of in
Can you tell us who Lynn Rivers is?
Yes, nobody would know who that is anymore. Lynn Rivers was the congresswoman from Ann Arbor area, basically Ann Arbor. I think she was in the legislature before that. And it was like 1999, around May-ish, summertime. Coincidentally, right around that same time, there was a magazine that was produced by John F. Kennedy Jr. called George Magazine. It was out for a couple of years. It's actually a pretty good magazine. It was too bad it didn't make it. During that time period, they had the 10 worst legislators to work for. And she made the list. Now, nobody thought of me because I wasn't there long enough to actually make it. But it was I kept some good relationships with friends there, but it was a tough office to work in. And I lasted about 2 months, and Killy had an opening, and I got out of there as quick as I
Some
could.
personalities in this business. Is there not? Have we all seen a few? For sure.
She was top 10. She made the top 10 worst members to work for.
Wow. I want to know, okay, we're talking work. Shaquila,
Yeah.
you staffed him for years.
Yeah.
He sat down here and you asked him if he had his nasal spray.
Because once you're a
So I
staffer,
want to know what kind of weird shit he would carry. Or like, what are the things like, oh, you got to make sure there's a king size Snickers after debates or something.
So, I mean, he's the boss that really did. He was low maintenance, right? Low maintenance, not didn't need a whole lot. We would make sure he had lunch. Like, hey,
Anything special?
you got
Would he
lunch
eat
plans?
anything?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or was it like he hates green peppers? He hates
No.
mushrooms.
Oh no.
Just whether or not I was going to have
Yeah.
one or two lunches is really the question.
Yeah. Like even if
Like
his sandwich
seafood, you
doesn't
seafood,
need
you eat it.
tomatoes,
Yeah, exactly.
But he just take the tomatoes off his sandwich. I put it on mine, and that was it. Like he was the most low maintenance. I've actually been really lucky, Lindsay. I've had some really great bosses in politics. People have stories. My stories are all mostly good.
I would think that your last boss was low maintenance in that way too.
Yeah,
Probably
because
be
he
like,
ate anything.
Is
like,
this food okay?
like yeah, I mean, you just gotta have enough of it. You gotta feed somebody that's 6'6", right? Like last two bosses, right? 6'7", 6'6", very tall people.
yeah.
You need a lot. Yeah.
Garland, too.
Somebody
Yeah.
asked me, "Are you allowed to work for anybody under 6 feet tall?" And I was like, Gretchen Whitmer. That's it. So yeah. So no, I have had very low maintenance, easygoing bosses. I mean, the governor as well. LG, he just needs gummy bears. He likes Snicker bars, but I'm allergic to nuts. So just gummy bears.
There's
Like,
got to be, because you are a laid back guy, but there's got to be like one or two things that like I'm not moody. Like I'm like this, but there's a couple things. Like for example, I don't do a lot of drive-throughs, but if I do, and you forget my stuff, and then I drive away, I'm like, there's just no way out of this. Like I get really irrationally mad. Like that's not a work thing. But tell me, like he's got to have one thing where like
So you,
somebody.
You kind of project yourself onto Joe Pesci's character in Lethal Weapon 2 with you know what in the drive-through. Are you
don't.
familiar with that?
I turn
Do you
it
remember
inward.
that scene in the movie?
I don't, but
Oh.
I turn my anger inward and rage inward. But I do. You send me a clip later.
Joe Pesci got a bad order in
I
the
remember
drive-through
now. I
in
forgot
Lethal
until you
Weapon
said
2
that.
and went on an epic rant in the backseat of the car about how you get you know what in the drive-through.
You can swear. By the way, I don't know what this
Well,
what was for.
They
I'm
they
picking up Pizza House after this.
they screw you at the drive-through.
Down the
Oh,
street,
okay.
Pizza House down the street. I'm picking that up for my wife and son, and I have to check to make sure we get the ranch
Do check.
and the
do
other
check.
sauce. 'Cause
Last
They
time-
they never give you both.
Chipotle?
They really
Chipotle.
messed me up.
Chipotle? Oh, you got to have the
Last
You gotta
time.
have
sauce.
both. Andrew likes ranch and chipotty, so like I am going to open the bag up in front of them and say I am not getting home.
There's a quality
Get in
control
trouble.
issue there.
yeah.
Because I'll get
Not
home and she'll
particularly
remember the
Pizza
fact
House,
that I didn't get one of the sauces, and I ain't mad at her. She's not. I make sure I order it too, and then
And you're not
Yeah.
10 minutes
I,
away.
I could rant about this, and it's the same with DoorDash. Once I got like the extra stuff I ordered, like add avocado, and then no meat. They're just like put all the extra shit on that was $1 each, and then
But
I was
not
like,
the
but
thing.
there's no burger here anymore. This was Hopcat. I'm like, who
yeah. Why would you think that's a good idea?
thinks this is the way people live?
Yeah, who's eating like that?
Anyhow, so yeah.
Sorry.
Any-
Topic.
That's
Give
fine.
me a Clark Griswold tantrum that he had one time.
Never. That's the thing. Like, I don't have any. Like, all of my stories are probably more like me than I have. And it's like,
You seem like you're good at managing women.
no, I mean, he was fine. It was my probably one of my funniest stories working when he was leader is we would have this every other week. Do you remember this? We would have this every other week meeting. And the meeting kept getting canceled. It was like with the leadership team. I
Oh,
sat
yeah.
in the meeting, blah, blah, blah. And so, chief of staff, no names, right? We're going to play this no games. Chief of staff tells me, hey, the meeting's canceled. Let these other two senators know. And I do. They come in and I tell them the meeting's canceled. And they go, because I didn't catch them ahead of time there. And so they start yelling. They're like, you're disrespecting our time, blah, blah, blah. They're joking. But I don't know that. And I'm pretty frustrated about maybe some other things. And at that point, I'm like, not today. Not today. You're not gonna talk to me crazy. You gotta go. Not today. So they leave. The meeting's not canceled.
Oh shit.
And so then chief of staff says, you gotta go
Get him,
back and
get
get
him.
him. You gotta go back and get him. And I'm like, oh, I can't, because now I'm embarrassed
Yeah,
because I lost
Senator,
my
I
temper.
got good news and bad news.
Yeah.
And so then I call him, and because I can see him out the window or whatever, and I'm like, hey, can you come back to the office? And the entire meeting is in shambles because they just keep, every time I say something, they're like, not today, Shaquilla, not today. And you got to know that these are two white guys who, again, we're all friends.
Yeah.
It was fine. But it's been 10 years since this
I'm
happened.
sure they
And
still
I
say
will
it to you.
still randomly get a text message from one or both of them
Really?
saying, not today, Shaquilla.
love that.
Not today, Satan, or something.
That's more where stories were like.
Yeah.
Like crazy stuff. I remember one time we were on the floor. You probably remember this. I think it was Knizik, or it might have been Curtis, who was certain that because, well, I know you were part of this. Me, you, and Curtis for sure. I think David was too. They had a belief that we could go around and find one. I was like, no way. Republican senator who would know the Black National Anthem. And I'm like,
I didn't even know there is a black national.
Sing it,
anthem.
yes.
Lift
I'm
every,
like,
lift
every
every voice
to
and
sing,
sing.
and I can sing it because we sang it in school. I grew up with the
Curtis
free
knew
schools.
it.
Yes, you know, it's just something you know, right? I mean, I don't even have to look at the lyrics. I just can sing it, at least the first
You know
verse
where
or
I
two.
grew up, folks. I mean,
But I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying.
yeah,
But
it's
like
just-
one of them thought
No,
it was
no.
for certain. I'm like, oh, so and so. I'm like,
no,
wait, that's no way they learned that song.
no.
And
I'd bet it. I'd bet
because
my
Coleman
life
was
on
part
that.
of it too. Coleman was like certain. One of them was certain. I was like,
And I was like,
I'm
not a chance.
not even going to ask because I
No.
know the answer. And of course, none of them did.
Not a single one. Not a single one. I mean,
None of our
remember
even some of our colleagues didn't. But
exactly.
They
That's what I was
probably
gonna
did,
say.
like me, didn't know it existed, like many of them.
Yes,
But
yes.
I'm gonna learn more.
But-
I always like.
it's actually a really nice song. It's a pretty song.
It's a great song. And Curtis, interestingly enough,
We're talking about
learned
Curtis
it in her
Bertel.
town.
Yep.
Curtis learned it in school, not
Atlanta?
like in,
Oh, where did,
but no, well, he went to school in Metro Detroit,
Yeah.
but he learned it in like in church, like Catholic service or something. It was not a song that they sung.
They didn't
as
know
the-
it was somebody.
Well,
Somebody whitewashed
it was a
and stuck it in the
general. It's a
Catholic-
general song that was adopted, I think, as the Black National Anthem. And so Curtis knew it from that, or at least that's how he framed
Okay.
it to me. I
Okay.
don't know. I've only known it as the Black National Anthem because I went to Detroit schools. But
I
again,
went to Flint schools.
Jim went to Flint schools. Jim grew up in Detroit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's a proximity thing, right?
Yeah.
One of my friends is from Florida,
yeah.
and she's like, we learn all about tribe history
Yeah.
in public school, whereas in Detroit you don't necessarily learn that. But I knew a little bit of French because we'd always
Yeah.
take a trip
Sure.
to Windsor, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a
Yeah,
very
well,
locational.
let's not
thing.
talk about trips to Windsor.
No.
Yeah,
That's-
well,
I even got
I'm talking about
in our in our youth,
Sault Ste. Marie borders where I
fair enough.
go.
there's a great
Fair
Costa
enough.
Papista story about it.
I bet you do.
So yeah, so no diva
Yeah, those are more our
stories. but
stories.
yeah, those are more our stories. Pocket ribs, I do.
You had ribs in your pocket. Is this a
And you know
Napoleon
exactly-
Dynamite thing?
You
with
know
your
exactly
tots?
who had the ribs in their
I
pocket.
think, yeah, I think it was obvious. It was
Was
me.
it lady?
Did you have them wrapped well?
Oh, yeah, of course.
yeah.
Wow.
I'd love to see your wife washing your pants.
It's,
Oh, that's my jacket. That's my-
It was in
Oh,
his
your
jacket
jacket.
pocket. It was
Yeah.
a
Dry cleaner.
late session night. You know how sometimes budget season or
Yeah.
whatever session goes till midnight, whatever. And we had break for dinner, and I think I was preparing amendments, right? Because you know, double role. I'm working in the
Yeah.
in the leader's office, but also we're in the super minority. We don't have enough staff.
yeah.
We're preparing amendments and strategy or whatever. I don't get dinner. Jim comes back and he's like, "Oh, did you eat?" I'm like, I didn't eat. And you know, sessions going along, but there's dull moments because You got to turn in amendments, whatever. And he was like, I got some ribs in my pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like,
And it was, it was a barbecue place in Flint.
and
You
that's
brought
what it
them from
was.
Flint?
No.
No, no.
Burton Brown.
Yeah,
and-
right.
Worked at Carew.
Okay.
At
Well, they
Flint
closed.
City Market. Yeah.
Yeah, they just closed. They,
they?
yeah,
Oh,
I
I'm
think I
sorry.
don't know if it was his family's getting older.
Yeah.
It was his
Right.
stepdad and mom, I believe, and Carl's was called. Beautiful, great food.
Oh,
yeah.
And they had a barbecue thing at your guys' shop, and it was just like a fun. I don't even. We might have just been an event or fundraiser. So I was swinging back in. I'm like, let's get some food for. I had just eaten, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna get some for me too, because no way she can eat all this, but I'll get some for me too. And I pulled. Someone's like, oh, and I pulled out the ribs, and they're like, what do you got? I said, I always have ribs in my pocket. So they became
It became
coin
running joke.
pocket
like,
ribs. Yeah.
Pocket ribs. You,
how it
yeah,
became.
Ribs.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
and there are a number of elected officials who never feel they have time to sit down, but they'll grab food
Yes.
at receptions, whether it's in Lansing or D.C. But the key is, do they get a napkin and wrap it up, or do they just put it in their
Just
pocket?
raw dog.
So there are.
You have one too?
Oh yeah, I mean they're like.
God rest his soul. but
God
remember-
rest his soul. That's
Yeah.
who I'm thinking of too.
I remember in D.C., God rest his soul, Congressman Sandy Levin
Sandy Levin, you beat me.
pull out
Yeah.
a
My wife.
powdered donut
Yeah.
without a napkin. I'm like,
Not,
oh,
oh,
that
it
is
always.
And I used to hear stories about it was some cookies that he was obsessed with, right? Not
Probably,
Sara Lee.
yeah.
It was one of those like
Yeah,
Lorna Dooms or
anti-milk,
something, yeah, that he would always have in his pockets, and it was an intern's job to like empty his pockets and make sure that
I want that kind of a handler. At the end of the day, just all right,
Take
pull
care
out the
of it.
crumbs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Pat me down.
Didn't have time to grab a napkin.
I'm sorry because I'm afraid I'm going to forget this because we talked about Detroit. I got something in the back of my mind. It's like a whisper of a memory, shadow of a thought that you and like we talked about Detroit. This is what triggered this. You and Brad Williams and maybe somebody else had at one point shared an apartment with like 5 men in downtown Detroit, but like as full grown men, adults.
Yeah, there's.
Is this right?
Yeah, so we, when the Final Four was coming to Detroit, this was pre-Airbnb Verbo days. We decided that we needed some home base because we were going to be, down enjoying the Final Four, and then opening day was soon after. So we rented a loft in Greektown that literally was just a bathroom and an open room.
For how
But
long?
well, the terms of the lease are a little fuzzy. But we had
But you couldn't miss
a
the
table, a TV, and a
Yeah.
bathroom,
What you need.
and windows looking out over Greektown.
it was near Nikki's, right?
It was right above Nikki's
Yep,
Pizza. Yeah.
How many
I
roommates?
may remember some of your
I mean,
your other
roommates-
roommates
I mean,
or
roommates
renters.
is a it was like a sports hostel. Was there a Detroit game or a NCAA game,
Great idea.
and people could just crash
But I wanna
there,
know how
or
many.
Flophouse, yeah.
oh,
But rent was
I
cheap.
don't know. We could ever. Yeah, I mean, it was,
So
and
did,
it was an elevator that. So we're on the 4th floor. The elevator was a crapshoot. People got stuck in the elevator. So
you divided the rent in how many?
I bet it was
Ways.
12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Former DIM staffers in there. That's all
yeah,
I
no,
knew.
there
did
was a
you
whole
sleep
crowd.
there ever?
Maybe the night. There were a bunch of us who crashed there the night Michigan State lost to North Carolina in the national championship.
So no beds, just
No, but just grab a piece of floor and a coat is it's just and the traffic was so crazy. It was great. We just bumper to bumper. People like, it took me 2 hours to get out of downtown. What'd you do? Well, we just kind
I
of
laid on my floor.
had a beer and looked
My
out the
11
window, enjoyed the
roommates.
scene.
So you got to have a story in here, like somebody that is just out of their mind or weird or just like just silly something
From
from this roommate situation.
I mean, it was again all revolving around when
Games.
Michigan State was playing in the Final Four or the Tigers, and but there would be, everybody. Oh, I'm going down to the game. Anybody going to be in the urban cottage, in the loft, and people would just hang out there, be like, hey, I stopped by. So then we tucked a key somewhere, and then I think One point
Hide
I
a
got
key
a
in
call.
dog
that
freaked
somebody's kids were going to use it before a concert,
Oh man.
and somebody had kicked the door in and taken the television.
Oh, great.
Because nobody was ever there. And it was so.
Do you ever have to
somebody-
kick anybody out? Like not
No.
not like that. Not like I mean like people we like.
No, people.
bad
I mean,
behavior.
people would
Okay.
like in the building. they'd,
Yeah,
This is all
How
very
are you
PG.
guys doing?
I know it's kind of boring. But
it was.
Well,
I
there's
did,
some good stories, but I
I'm
don't
on-
remember them.
no.
Yeah,
I
I mean, but there
remember-
were several of
Yeah.
Senator Annanick's colleagues who might have made an appearance or two, and it was
or
convenient.
staffers. Some
Staff, yeah, it was just, again, it was before Airbnb. Like, we need a place and hotels for the Final Four.
Oh, I've been
or
in this world.
I love
ridiculous.
that you
so.
embarked on like you got a lease because it was so special.
Yeah,
and it would be
I
big
don't
discussions
know.
about whether the lease was going to be renewed because it was only like a 6-month lease or
Yeah,
something.
we got a short
And,
term. I
yeah.
don't know who actually signed it.
Yeah, no clue.
Somebody else.
Well-
There's some people that said they were going to pay and didn't too. I gotta imagine that. That always
Maybe,
happens.
but I think it was cheap.
it was
trying to get the. I'm trying to
What would it be
get
now?
the dirt
I
out.
wonder how much it would be
I
now.
got one kind of story, but not like super detailed. So Jeff Miner who was chief of staff for someone, he would sponsor that bus trip down to a Tigers game. And so it was staffers from House, Senate, them staff. You'd go down, you'd watch the game. And some people would just go down and leave and not
Find a
watch
bar.
the game. And so I remember we were on our way back and we were missing a few people. And I said to one of my fellow coworkers, like, hey, we're missing this person. Oh, they're crashing at the loft. Like, and that's how I learned about this loft.
You're like the
Well,
way.
and you could always tell the staffers or legislators on that bus trip who were from up north. I remember a legislator and a staffer got lost, so the bus is waiting for them. Like, which way should I go? I said, see the real tall building? That's the Renaissance Center. If you're walking towards that, turn around.
Turn around. You're going the wrong way.
And if you fall
From
in the
any
river,
direction.
you
Yeah,
From
really
any
go.
direction.
Real too far.
But
yes.
it's like, okay, how do I
They say,
dumb
"Hey,
down
you
the
went too
landmark
far."
discussion? Yeah, you fall if you've gone too far if you're in the river
Yes.
or in Windsor. But yeah, the bus trips were always interesting.
I was a new staffer, right? And I'm still like learning the world of politics. And I'm like, what is this job? Like, we have a field trip to a Tigers Lake
It's hard to explain.
With no permission slips.
with no permission. And then I get on there, and like everybody kind of warned me, like, maybe bring your own drink, whatever, because you're not driving, whatever. I think I won a fifth of Jaeger. Like there was somehow a raffle or a game of
Surprised me at all. That crew.
some type of like trivia game, and I ended up with a fifth of Jaeger. I had never had Jaeger before because I'm in my 20s, but I didn't come from a place that we drank Jaeger. Let's say that.
And that's a good place.
Yes, exactly.
My friends drank maybe.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
E&J.
Remy.
I was not quite in my Hennessy stage, and we were still drinking Bacardi because I was like 25.
Yeah, of course.
But Hennessy was
Yeah.
that was fancy drinking. And so I was like, what do you even drink with this?
So when I was at the Detroit Chamber, like, because we've all had these junkets and these trips and these things that are like, really fun opportunities and like you're like this is a job, But the best thing I ever got to do, Brad was feeling really generous, and the Tigers suite, he gave it to me for the Eminem Rihanna concert,
Oh, man.
and 18 tickets, and it was delightful.
Oh, I bet.
It was amazing. And I had like Lisa Howe's there. I had like a third Detroiters, a third, Lansing legislators, and it was a great mix. But this was a time where, I don't know, somebody must have chipped in. Somebody I invited, maybe a lobbyist was like, I'll buy the booze. So this is the only time I've ever gotten bottles of liquor in the suite.
Oh, man. That's a bad idea.
And brown liquor. And I'll go to my grave saying men and brown liquor, there's white, at least white men, there's like a mismatch chemically. It doesn't almost ever end well. So people were drinking liquor out of the, pouring their own drinks. The concert's over. We had a great time, but everyone's starving and like irrationally starving. And we got we got a senator or two, we got a couple House members, we got some staffers, and people are just like, I need food now, and you know how it is getting out of there. And at that point, they shut the place down really quick. So we get to the parking ramp, and I am the only car, and it's a Ford Fusion.
Oh, God. You're in trouble.
So 3 get in the trunk.
Yeah.
I think at least one sitting lawmaker was in the trunk, maybe 2. I think 2 at one point, and there was a third at another point. And then we get out to try to drive. You can't drive.
No, because it's dragging the ground.
So not only were we bumper to bumper, I'm pretty sure we almost killed, like fumigated them because you got just tailpipe exhaust.
Right to the car,
Everyone's
yeah.
just sitting, and then they're starting to get surly in the trunk. You know, people are we're hearing banging. You know, like somebody's texting from the trunk. But I was sober because I knew I had to drive. Well, it didn't really work. It ended up. At some point, somebody flung the trunk open and got out, and they're walking there having a fit, and ended up coercing them back. Maybe we fit somebody else in the back seat, but at some point, it was alleged that someone had farted in someone else's mouth in the trunk.
But also, I gotta say, I imagine the cars behind you when the trunk popped open were like, what is
So that was when we
Schreiner's
were on.
phone car.
Eventually, we make it over to like a McDonald's somewhere, and somebody literally tries to like take a swing at somebody that alleged they farted at them, and then there was
that.
criticism. And so finally, we end up. Somebody maybe got dropped off, but I end up get 2 people get back in the trunk. I'm taking you to your hotel. I'm done with this. This is madness. People are losing their minds.
turning the car around?
So we
Yes,
go
turn the
into
car around.
we pull into the Marriott. I popped the trunk. There was some formal there, the Renton Marriott. So there's people everywhere. This is like midnight. There's valet, there's people, there's women in ball gowns waiting for their. I pull into the valet, pop the trunk. Out walks the lawmaker and his buddy. They get up, grab their suit coat, walk in like dead serious. Actually, like pissed, you know. They're carrying themselves and they're just bink, stand up, walk in, and we're like, everyone's like. Did 2
What happened here? What is
large men wearing suits just come out of the
Trunk
trunk
of a fusion.
of Ford Fusion and walk in as if nothing, not only if nothing happened, they had like somewhere to be.
Oh, I love that story. That's great.
Really great to look back on. It was very unpleasant for me that hour. People were really acting up, and I wouldn't do it again.
Oh my gosh. I could, if I had $1 for every time I started a sentence with, hey, please don't fire me.
Yeah,
I would call him and I'd be like, I really did it this time. The worst time was probably, this is all off the subject, but it was, I may have called a chair of a committee a racist. And
What it happens.
I mean,
Probably deserved it.
to this day, if you ever run into him and I'm there, he'll tell you, you know, Shaquilla called me a racist. It was a misunderstanding. But that one was the one that I called him and I said, look, I probably deserve to be fired for this one. But
It may have happened.
look,
I may have done it.
I said it. I
yeah.
did. I called
I
him,
was like, well, all right.
and Jim was like, the shit he's doing is racist. So, you know, it's cool. I got
Be
you.
all right.
I love that.
And,
Great boss.
A
gotta-
great boss.
If your employee, if they're good, and sometimes they act out because, you know, she had to like
Passionate
you backed her up.
about
You
an
backed her up.
issue. I was
If I got
very,
a
Yes,
bad
very
cup,
passionate.
you got to back me up.
yes.
There's a
And
couple topics where it's like, it's hard to be on an equal footing with somebody when they don't have any experience that you have.
it's very true.
So
Yeah.
it's like people talking about a topic and
Yeah.
you lived it. So
No, it's very cringy.
It was very hard.
very difficult, I'm sure.
Coming from the issue was related to
it was Detroit schools, wasn't it?
it was Detroit
Yeah.
Public Schools.
Uh-huh.
And
That
in
was a
this
tough
and you know, Jim's been a teacher in Flint Public Schools. He's a product of Flint Public Schools. So he got it, right? And I'm sitting in this room with all these lawmakers, even the Detroit lawmakers, none of them were graduates of DPS. And I got these majority members and staffers telling me how terrible Detroit teachers are and all this other, and I'm like, these are the people that made me, right? Like, and you're not gonna tell me that these teachers who were sticking up for students deserve to be punished,
Yeah.
because they were bringing attention to the conditions of the schools.
But put the logic aside,
Yeah.
like you lived that. They don't know what they're talking about.
But and here I am with people again, their parents, and you're telling me you wouldn't want the teachers to stick up for the conditions at your kid's school. Like it was just it was a hard issue. But again, particularly sitting in a room with a bunch of people who, you know, they visit Detroit to talk about how cool the Tigers games are or whatever.
Or to ride in the trunk of a Ford.
But again, it was again. There were more than one time after I left Jim's office that I'd call and I'd be like, it's rough over here. I might need to come back.
I usually don't think, well, if you had to call somebody racist, that chair would be the one who could handle it.
He could. He was not. I mean, his feelings were hurt, but
overdue.
he was a nice guy. He was a nice guy, and his intentions were good, and he just needed a little perspective. So he was, I did not call him a racist.
No.
I said what he was doing was racist.
Sure.
But people take what they take. But anyway,
These are stressful situations we're in. Long hours. You did make me think of something, though. Tell me about like family members you have that because this is a less sinister but like people who try to tell you how government works or how politics. You've got to have like cousins, aunts, my dad, whoever that's like, well, the lobbyists and you're like. It's almost impossible. It's not as much like heart and soul, like Detroiters and race, but it's like, you want to tell me how that works? Like you guys have got to have some instances in your family where you have to just be like,
I've had a cousin or something tell me, I can do your job. I can do your job. All you do is talk all day. And I was like, sure, go ahead, come on.
You got any?
Well, I think
You got any uncles that go on rants or cousins?
well, and it's only been made worse with social media.
Yeah.
And the 24-hour news cycle, right? Because you got to fill it with stuff that starts taking you farther away from things that are important. Because what do you say at 3 a.m? And then you worry that there's a family member up watching that at 3 a.m. and then taking that as gospel. But I think social media, everybody, it's so easy to fix. Like if it was easy, it would have been fixed, right?
Yeah.
These are people who have good intentions. They disagree, but these are not easy.
I always say to
fix.
the kind of, my son will always be like they and they. I'm like, who is they? Who is they?
they?
But I always say like, people are like, is it really? What's it really like? Or they go into whatever some of those. I don't watch any of those shows. The Kevin Spacey, whatever. I don't
Oh, yeah.
I don't
House of Cards,
want
House
to entertain I'm trying to kill my brain off, not activate it or whatever. But is it really? And my answer is always, in some ways, in probably most ways, it's so much better than people think. I.e., a bureaucrat is not a zombie. They're often people that are like really care about a thing or are experts or have a background in it, and they have watched iterations of it. And are there some bureaucrats that are grizzly, whatever, but like, or the process is like, wow, this is vetted like all these different ways, or you actually can't just spend all this money on a lawmaker and doing crazy. Some people do, but they're breaking the law, and there's very few. But then I'm like, in other ways, though, I was like, you want to see somebody write an amendment at 1 a.m. and it goes into a law? How about me? Mayor shall.
Yes.
No longer sell. Like. That's a law now. Like, who wrote it? You're like,
Well,
there's some of those where the quality control is like, oh shit. Like, whoops.
We've had to fix it.
That didn't quite work.
it gets fixed long before. It gets fixed before it gets signed.
Yeah, of course it does, but the process
There's
is
a review process.
I have one of the things I tried to do, because one was my nature, but two kept me more grounded in where people were at. There's a dive bar I hang out with in Flint. I actually took the governor that one time when she was first elected. She was driving up to before Soggy closed, by the way.
Did it?
The owner died. I think they're going to open it back up again, unfortunately. But not unfortunately. Unfortunately, he died, but fortunately, they're going to open back up again, I hope. But it's called RP's, and the governor was going up to like an event in Saginaw. She stopped in, drank a beer before the event. But anyway, that's why I used to hang out at it. My buddies always ask me what I'm doing, and I'm like, well, my constituents like, what is that? Or like with my colleagues or something. And I explained to him. It's remember my buddy Fob. He was like, oh, it's like your homeboys. I'm like, that's it. Sure. That sounds good. That's good enough. Like he kind of had it down, just didn't know the terminology. So mine wasn't so much. We all have stories of somebody thinking they're an expert because they watched a reel at 3 o'clock in the morning. But those are more my favorite ones because they would just they were proud that I was doing it, and they would just kind of be interested about it, and ask me questions, and then they would obviously many times they'd be pretty informed about what was going on, and it was just people sitting on this dive bar, and I'm like, man, it's kind of cool,
Yeah. Sometimes it works.
Yeah.
Like where people are like, oh wow, and they They take some.
They kinda get it,
notes.
yeah.
I was like, some of my favorite interactions are with some of my cousins because they are, you know, everyday laborers or whatever. My one cousin is a carpenter, retired now, and he's one of the most politically astute people that I know. Right? Like, if I want to know like how a person is thinking about an election, I ask him like, "Who are you voting for?" Right? Like in 18, he was very much. He was like, "That Shree guy is pretty interesting," you know, or whatever. And I, you know, I'd ask him, well, what do you think of the governor? Or
Yeah.
with the upcoming governor's
Yeah.
race a couple years ago, we were at a birthday party, and I was like, they were asking me about who's running for governor, and I was like, oh, this person, and he had pretty strong feelings. Like folks like that, I enjoy talking to because, again, I think there's a lot of assumptions. If you watch social media right now, the inner fighting amongst Democrats is pretty interesting with these very far left progressives and their feelings about black voters and their assumptions about black voters versus the reality of, like, you know, what black voters actually know and what they
Yeah.
think,
Care about.
right?
Thank you
It's
for
a-
letting me know.
Yeah, like thanks progressive member for
Yeah.
telling that has never had a real conversation with somebody.
Yeah,
telling
for
me,
real.
like, yeah. So it's really interesting stuff. I guess it's not, most of my interactions aren't negative either. Here and there, a
Yeah, you
person.
have some.
But and also I got family that, like, when Scandal was on, they're like, "You're like Olivia Pope." I said, "Except I'm not sleeping with the governor or the president. Like, none of that is happening." But I was like, "Sure, if you think that I'm amazing and just when I show up things get done."
I mean,
I'll
you're
take
pretty
that.
amazing.
Take that.
Pretty
I'll take
amazing.
that for
I'll
sure.
take that. I'll show up and shit gets done.
So Jim, too, we all have unlimited time here, and I've been trying to mine to get some dirt out of you. Like, the apartment thing didn't work. Like, I want a story, preferably that involves him. Just like
No. If we're going to come up with dirt on legislators, Jim Ananick is so far down the list that
I
right,
don't mean dirt. I mean like Ford Fusion
Funny
kind of dirt.
stories.
I have prints in my pocket. That's pretty good.
That is
Yeah,
a good
right.
one.
It
That
is
is a
in
good
your
one.
pocket.
but at
No,
least
he
they're
didn't
wrapped,
even know.
right? That's like there's a basic
Well, it's
kind of
soft.
floor of
Give it.
public health expectation that we ought to try and meet.
That's my 10 minutes.
Going back to the impact of social media, like legislators now aren't as brazen as they were when we were starting about asking for things. Like everybody, House of Cards, but they were having represented, a number of the law enforcement unions. Right? There used to be some really crazy calls late night about somebody being in trouble or a family member being in trouble. So that has changed. One, the benefit of Lyft. Right? You don't have, any legislator now who gets pulled over, right, deserves to get in trouble because they have
So many options.
there's solutions, right? They
Yeah.
look at their phone every minute of every day anyway, right? There's a little app that has an L on it. You just press that, and you get a ride home. But that is one thing that is kind of diminished is legislators.
Did you get some calls?
Yeah, we can't. Even if the statute of limitations is passed, there's
You got
some
you got
interesting
help
calls. Yeah.
If I don't remember, if I
Or-
recall,
or-
you may have represented.
Or get people like out of town because they're here causing trouble.
Yeah.
A legislator who was supposed to get on a plane to get out of town, right? And everybody, his colleagues were like, get him the hell out of here. Somewhere between the curb and the gate. Didn't make it because he stopped at a bar, and next thing you know, there's airport police and there's
He was stressed.
and
He
one
needed to
so one
relax,
story I will
wind down.
there was a legislator who just wasn't showing up. Granholm was governor, and she was not answering her phone. So get a call. Can you see if somebody from MSP can swing by her house to make sure she's alive.
Now you represented
The Troopers Association.
Yeah,
So I
state
got to call. Say,
troopers,
is there
Michigan
somebody at the
State
Troopers Association in the department we could call? So we called down to the post and said, "Hey, here's Representative so and so. Here's her address. Can you send a car by for a wellness check?" And so the trooper calls me and says, "Okay, we're going over." I said, "Leave your phone on. Just put it in your pocket." I said, "Okay, we're walking up to the house." I just pound on the door. Curtain pulls apart so they know somebody's there. "Representative, you okay?" And we hear through the phone, and we're in the speaker's office in the Capitol. "Are you here to arrest me?" Like, "No, ma'am. The speaker just wants to make sure you're alive."
What did you do?
Oh, tell him I'll call him right back. And so she finally called the speaker and said, "Okay, I'll be at session tomorrow." But she had disappeared for quite a while. But that was, "Are you here to arrest me?" "No, we just want to make sure you're alive."
I did. There was a group of lawmakers and staffers at B-Dubs years and years ago, and a couple of them needed rides, and I was like, okay. And it was like snowstorming, and I don't think Uber was around at all, and so I was like, I guess I'm taking a couple of these guys home. So one of them, they're in South Lansing, these houses that they rent together, not unlike your arrangement.
Well, they had
But we're
actually,
driving.
beds. And,
We're driving, and the one's like, I'm
towels.
over there. Yeah, right. I'm over there. I drop him off. The next one, I'm just alone now. This person has passed. Lovely person, but we're driving, and I'm like, so is your street coming? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay. Well, and then we're driving. It's snowy. I think about no, that's not it. We're driving. He goes, that's it. Pull in there. I said, that's a Sir Pizza.
Is that where you wanted to go?
He started to tell me that he lived at the Sir Pizza. So I pulled in. I was like, this is not where you live. It looked, you're right. It must be down there. So I make it down to a street. I think I call another lawmaker. They come find. Like, that is a Sir Pizza.
That's good.
I'll tell one on myself if you want.
Yeah.
Sheila was probably there. We were at Mackinac for the trip that we for the policy conference. And I was a leader at the time. We were at one of the parties that people were having. And they're like, "You got to go back to your room. You got press in the morning or whatever it is." I'm like, "All right." So
Might have been me that came and said
Yes.
that. Now I
But
do
you're doing
remember.
the Cupid shuffle
So
at
I
the
was
moment.
they're walking me up. I'm like, "All right, okay, I'll go. We walk up, so I'm walking up the hill to the Grand. I'm slow walking. I turn around and see the person go down. I just head back. But I went to the same bar.
That's exactly what happened.
"Come on, I'm not,
And you were not ready to leave.
I'm not,
Like, I'm
I
not
want to go
gonna
home. You tried. Don't worry about it.
So wait, so this was gonna be my story. Like, lucky
Oh,
enough.
you were the one that pulled him
I
out?
was,
Oh, yeah.
yes. And
So I was like, wait till she went around the corner. I'm like, maybe she's going home.
I went right back.
I know, and I did too.
And he was
I was like, I took my tie off, like she wasn't gonna notice.
Yeah.
And so, but here's
even
the
recognize
thing.
me.
Like, Jim was always responsible. The LG was always responsible. Speaker Tate, always responsible. I never worried about, like, oh God, am I going to get a text message in the middle of the night
One
that
of the Jim
somebody's in
Curran
jail?
calls.
Yeah, never had to worry. Again, very lucky. But when, again, this is not a unknown thing, that when the speaker was speaker for our first Mackinac in leadership, we had pep talk with the caucus, like, don't end up a Mackinac story, right?
Yeah.
Like we're getting close to Mackinac time, and it was the reminder. I was like, hey, even if I'm not at Mackinac, I still hear the stories. There was, the leader that got punched in the face and showed up at work the next week with black eyes. There
Choked.
was
One of them got choked.
one of them got choked. There was also the one that got choked out because he was flirting with a plumber's wife or something. and the caucus is looking around, and I said, yeah, those stories happened years ago, and I wasn't at either of those Mackinacs.
Yeah.
Actually, I was at the one that he got choked.
Yeah.
But we all heard the stories. I said, don't be the Mackinac story. And they have a jail on the island. Like, don't end up in jail. I don't want to call and figure out how to get you out of jail. Like, and the caucus is looking around. I'm like, be responsible, make good decisions. And then we're up at Mackinac, and a lobbyist says to me, your members think you got lobbyists watching them. I said, good, I do. Like, I had already, and Jim might have been
Whatever
in
it
that number,
takes.
Yeah.
like, where I was like, if you see somebody, I got staff ready to go, you will not embarrass the speaker. You will not embarrass the
Yes,
speaker.
take care of it for me.
And
please.
yes.
Don't
and so
create a
think it worked.
distraction.
I think
there
it
were
worked.
several lobbyists that I had already said, if you see my members, and then I had a few staff dispatched around the island. Yeah, this was a full-blown operation.
Call
And
Olivia
guess
Pope.
what? No one ended up in jail. No one,
No one
know what?
bicycle crashed into a crowd of pedestrians.
I don't know this I don't know this personally, but I was riding with on the horse thing one time, and there was 2 cells at the Mackinac jail. One's for drunk and one's for other.
Oh.
The guy told me he'd been in both. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, what if you're drunk and other? Which one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
he-
always go drunk. Always.
Yeah, he'd seen both sales. All right, okay, well, that's good information. I will not be seeing those, so
No.
thanks for letting me know about it, though.
Yeah. Well,
On that note,
yeah. Thank you, Gym 1 and Gym 2.
pair of gems.
Pair of gyms,
the
a couple of
invitation. This was
gyms.
fun.
That's a lot of fun.
This was great. I didn't know I had to give you a microphone to see you again. But
I don't get to
know
Lansing
you're
too
pretty.
much anymore.
You think so?
That's a source of signal of wisdom.
It's
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah,
But
that's fair. I don't go downtown anymore. This new job keeps me away from downtown. I'm
you're
like,
lucky.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not bad. Not bad at all. Less parking tickets, that's for sure.
I brought my students on the May 5th, whatever the Monday was. It's the last time I've been here. It's fine.
it's great.
Showed them around.
There's nothing here.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, like in addition to things you have to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing else here.
It was nice to show them around.
Yeah.
Republican friend of mine showed them on the House floor. Democratic friend of mine showed them on the Senate
Well,
floor.
that's great.
It's good to go.
Awesome. All right.
Good to know the people in the majority, right? Control access.
Forget it. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
Smooth, it's far too easy. Word on the streets, I make it look easy.